All right, welcome back, Truth Seeker. Just want to start off by sending out a few thank yous. First of all, thank you to Dana. I got her package, and her child drew us a picture here. I like this a lot. Zach and Sweet Lady made Sweet Lady's Day. She said we should get it framed and put it up on the wall, so I think we will do that. I appreciate this. First drawing I've gotten in the P.O. box of Sweet Lady and I, so make Sweet Lady feel appreciated. And it's funny that comes this week because I swear to God, in the last 2 weeks, Sweet Lady's been saying, I'm getting so old and I don't have any children and all my friends have children. So then we get a letter in the mail, and a drawing from a child. So just remind you of the joy of children. But also got a new shirt on here, and this also came with the package. Dana sent me 3 new t-shirts. I like this one. I like them all, but I like this one. A critical thought is not a conspiracy theory. And I don't know if Dana's designing this t-shirt herself. I have a feeling she is. That GematriaEffectNews sign in the background, Dana made that. And again, it's probably been about a year, but I'm going to put her email up. Her email address, again, is the top pinned comment. She makes really cool signs. Big Al down in Arizona bought several signs from her. And he just has them up at his workspace in the post office where he sorts out his mail each day before he does his delivery. And what was cool is Big Al, he was absent from his post office for about a month and a half, 2 months, something like that, because he was refusing to wear a mask. And then he eventually won the fight, and now they let him go to work without a mask. But what was cool is the whole time he wasn't there, his signs were up in his workspace, so people are still reminded of these truth seeker messages from the truth seeker who's fighting the mask and now doesn't have to wear it. But I know Dana sent some other people signs as well. So, she makes really nice signs. She's a single mom, so, you help her out. You're putting it towards a good cause. And she has some sweet little children, so. Oh, man. Kids are the best. Oh, yeah, you're not supposed to call them kids. Again, kids means baby goats, but this is part of our vocabulary. Children. She sent me this too. Trigger warning? I'm a little bit confused about this one, Dana. You're going to have to get in contact here. Isn't it like a trigger warning like a sign that something's wrong? So I feel like I guess we're putting out signs that something's wrong. I guess maybe that's where we're going. But I feel like if I'm wearing the t-shirt, it's like, is something wrong with this guy? But okay. I'm going to wear it because you got it for me. And then she got another one here that I like also. Skeptic. And everybody should be. Especially with... Does it say more than skeptic? I guess it says skeptic. I like that too. People got to be more skeptical. They got to ask more questions. And Dana even sent me a salt lamp. So I know these are good for your health. So maybe we'll start doing that when we do the TFR night show. But again, appreciate that, Dana. And then thank you to everyone who sends letters to the P.O. box and even the hate mail. Again, even the hate mail can be kind of annoying. It's like, well, I guess at least people care enough to send me a letter. But, yeah, I do appreciate it. And the other thing I want to talk about, the other thank you I want to send out, again, is to Leo. I played part of, or I think I played all of his video last night. He just did a, if you guys aren't subscribed to this man, Truth Over Fear, he's just getting started. He's already up to 1,000 subscribers, but he's going out and pounding pavement and asking people questions. And his latest video, he's asking people what they think about Gematria, and I think he did a good job. But I want to play his most negative interaction he had, and it wasn't that bad, as you'll see. But if you watch this full video, this is maybe the least success he had talking to a person. And this experience will probably remind you of a lot of the experiences you've had trying to share this knowledge with others. So I just want to watch it, and then I want to comment on what I would do differently. And again, just for some constructive criticism and for his next street campaign, just how I think he'll be a little bit more effective. So let's take a moment to watch this clip. This is Leo. Leo's down in Tucson, Arizona, just like Big Al. I hope these guys link up, Leo and Big Al. Big Al flew all the way out to... and Big Al, you don't need to fly out here again this year if you're thinking about doing that, man. You already took one for the team. 2 months off work without pay, making the point about masks. You flew out last year. I mean, you're more than welcome to fly out again. I just hate to see 2 years in a row that you have to come out here and shiver in the freezing cold. But again, for those of us who live up here, we're used to it. So Arizona's got a lot different weather than Washington State. But yeah, let's watch this clip. Be sure to subscribe to this man's channel because, I mean, it's cool that he's getting out there and pounding pavement and doing this. I wish I lived in a city that had more people. I'd be doing this a lot more right now too. But again, I can go stand out at my corner and I'll be lucky if one person walks by in 3 hours. But here we go. Leo in action.
Right. All right. So, have you ever heard of Gematria?
Yeah.
You have?
I think that's the letters, right?
Yeah. It's the practice coding numbers into words.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. You familiar with Slipknot? The band.
Yeah.
They had that song called Gematria, the killing
I know.
name. Okay. Also, the Police had a song called Murder by Numbers. But anyway, so I want to ask you real quick. Do you think that the coronavirus is a real pandemic, or do you think it's a Jesuit agenda?
It's a real thing.
It's a real thing. Why do you think that?
Just by the numbers of people getting sick and just the people getting the vaccine.
Okay. So you just trust the experts without doing your own research?
I think there's enough validity.
You think there's enough validity without even with you even not even having to think about it? You're just like, okay, whatever they're saying on the TV, whatever the numbers are, I'm just gonna go along with it because those are the experts.
Yeah.
Okay, that's fair. You familiar with Anthony Fauci? Is that your boss?
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah.
You familiar with Anthony Fauci?
Yeah.
Okay. Anthony Fauci back in 2017, he said that we would live out a pandemic under Donald Trump, right? That's what he said. He said under Donald Trump, there would be a surprise outbreak, and he was extremely confident that this event that we're living out now was coming, right? And so coronavirus, when you decode the word coronavirus in Gematria, right, it equals 56.
Okay.
And now there's a whole list of 56 that I can go over with you. Society of Jesus is 56. Society of Jesus are the Jesuits. They're the ones using this code, right? And then real quick, Gavin Newsom is 56. Anthony Fauci 56. Washington D 56. Toilet paper 56. Mind control 56. Unemployment 56. Food shortage 56. So you think that's a coincidence?
Yeah.
You think that's a coincidence?
100%.
100%. All right, man. Fair enough, man. I appreciate your time. Have a good day. Take care. All right. So have you ever heard of Gematria?
Okay, so this conversation he has with the next gentleman's more successful. But again, like I always say, you guys, when you're introducing this subject to somebody who knows nothing about it, don't start with the gematria. Don't start there. Start with a strong number pattern. So like when he was at the point of, oh, you just trust the numbers on the TV, and the guy's like, yeah. He might have said, have you noticed the overuse of certain numbers? Have you noticed a lot of stats with a certain number in it? And maybe that guy would have responded, said, maybe he would have said that he'd noticed a pattern. Or maybe he would have said, not really. And he could say, and then you could say, well, look up this. Look up when Gavin Newsom became the first governor to lock down California. He made a very specific statement. He's down in Arizona, so that's right next door to California. So that feels local too, where they are. But Gavin Newsom said 56% of Californians will get coronavirus in 8 weeks, which is 56 days. And then the guy could think about that. And then you could say, something like, doesn't that seem really specific? 56% in 56 days? The guy might be like, okay, yeah, that's kind of interesting. And then you could go through a list of facts. You could say, yeah, that's been going on from California to the UK. If you've been paying attention, they've been 56 this, 56 that. If you've been watching in the UK, Boris Johnson's 56 years old. He put out the 56-page winter plan about what to do about coronavirus. He locked down England on November 5th, the day leaving 56 days left in the air. And then you could say, like, have you seen the movie V for Vendetta? Set in about this time, and the world's fallen to a virus and terrorism and wars. I'm sure most people have probably seen that movie. Yeah, that's interesting. Okay, yeah, that's the same day. And you could say, yeah, you know, there's something special about that day, November 5th. That's Guy Fawkes Day as well. He was a well-known Jesuit. And, you know, we just mentioned Gavin Newsom. He's Jesuit educated. Anthony Fauci, you're probably familiar with Anthony Fauci. He'd probably say, yeah. Yeah, Anthony Fauci, go back and look it up. He said at Jesuit Georgetown, as a Jesuit educated man himself, he went to Holy Cross. He said on January 10th, 2017, that there'd be a surprise outbreak and pandemic in the time of Trump at a conference about pandemic preparedness. And he said at the beginning of the speech and the end of the speech, there was no mistake about it. He said this would happen in the time of Trump. And, you know, there's been several others. One of the big stories that got notoriety about a death right after the vaccine, it was a 56-year-old doctor down in Florida. There's just been a lot of this 56 number across the world, headlines, polls, stats that they just been putting in front of our eyes. The UK strain, they said it was 56% more infectious. You could just lay out this 56 thing. You haven't said a word about gematria yet, but you got them thinking like, wow, all this 56. Because it realized this is how it happened for me too. Like I saw the number patterns forever and I was like, what's with these numbers? And then finally when I found gematria and looked at like the words, I was like, oh my God, they're coding what the number of the value of the word is. But then you can say, look at this. In gematria, very simple practice of coding numbers and words, all these things equal 56. Coronavirus, Anthony Fauci, Washington, D.C., Society of Jesus, that's the official name of the Jesuits who've been in D.C. longer than the federal government. You could say the first Jesuit Pope, Pope Francis, did the encyclical about what to do about coronavirus called Fratelli Tutti, which is 56. The expensive beverage to get better, Regeneron, that's 56. Then you could lay out that list and then ask the person, and I wouldn't ask the person, do you think that's a coincidence, actually? I would stay away from asking it that way because people are programmed already to think everything is coincidence. So if you ask them that, within their own programming that they have, now you've given them an out because they can easily go, yes, I do think it's a coincidence. My whole life I've been taught to think everything's a coincidence and there's no such thing as conspiracy. You should ask something like, do you think that's interesting? Because then they might be inclined to say something more than yes or no. And then if they responded why it was a coincidence, you could say, well, why do you think that's a coincidence? So, again, that's why I always tell you guys, when you go out and educate about gematria, never start by just decoding things and putting it together. And also, I love what Leo's doing here, but I think his big mistake was that every time he brought it up to somebody, he brought up the Jesuits, who most people have no idea about, and gematria, two things most people have no idea about. So, don't overwhelm people with two new subjects, but you could, introduce it in the way I did, because there was a clear, logical, order to that. And, you could also bring up what went down in 1956 with Bill Gates on his first birthday and Jonas Salk's 42nd and Elvis Presley getting the vaccine on live TV. I mean, that's another thing you could work in there because a lot of people know about Bill Gates. But always start with a list of numbers and then show why they use that list of numbers. Joe Biden right now with all the 46 stuff. I have that video from months ago about Joe Biden and 46, the big long list, and all that we were talking about all year before he became the 46th president-elect. But you could list off that whole thing of 46 and then show how Catholics 46, why 46, why the 46 books in the Catholic Old Testament. Again, that's a good way to show people who's behind all this, who made the language, who made the calendar, who put it all together. So again, always start with a number list. September 11th in Flight 77 is a long number list. And then you can bring the gematria in of Y77 on September 11th in Washington, D.C., the Masonic City. So, again, always, when introducing gematria, don't start with gematria. Start with a long list of numbers. And then boom, then give the value. And a lot of people are sports fans. For all you sports fans trying to get people warmed up to this. Again, it was free money on Jordan's birthday when you know gematria. And again, I mean, and just watch next year when Jordan turns 59. They'll do the same thing next year. Just watch. There'll probably be a million teams that go 5-9 on that day. But Jordan's birthday is February 17th. He turned 58 this year. But again, on Jordan's birthday this year, his Wizards, the team that he finished with, became 5-9 at home, right? They became 5-9 at home, and then the Chicago Bulls became 5-9 at home. Both teams became 5-9 at home that he played for in Black History Month, the month that ends on the 59th day of the year, when he's one of many black celebrities with the 59 stamp on him. Again, Michael Jordan equals 59, right? This is an easy thing to explain, because you can say, in Black History Month, too, the month that ends on the 59th day of the year, when Motown. And notice who the Wizards beat that night. Or not the Wizards, excuse me. It wasn't the Wizards, the Bulls. Look at who the Bulls beat that night. The Bulls beat the team from Motown. Motown was established in 59. And again, you can explain to people. Negroes 59, slave is 59, blues is 59, Rasta's 59. The list goes on. But these rituals, So on Jordan's birthday, his two former teams become 5-9 at home. And the other thing is, I mean, for those of you who are on the Patreon and veterans, you know things. Like the Bulls becoming 4-9 at home, which is what they were coming into that night. It's no brainer. The Bulls love 49 rituals. So you notice how the Bulls were 4-9? The city of Washington loves 49 rituals. Washington was 4-9 before improving to 5-9. You see how this works? And you guys see how it's all... Whoops, I hit the wrong thing. You guys see how this is all in the most pure cipher with the Michael Jordan and the Washington and the Chicago Bulls? Again, that's why out of the four ciphers, they're all important, but this one's the most important. Michael Jordan, 59, Washington, 49, Chicago Bulls, 49. Those teams went from 4-9 to 5-9 in the Jordan ritual. Very repetitive patterns. And that's why all of you guys who've signed up for my Patreon and are saying, when are you going to put out some more picks? Again, like I told you guys, I'm not going to get back to doing, daily picks until I'm done writing the book that I'm working on right now. Again, that takes up the majority of my time. And in the meantime, you guys can be putting out, using the knowledge I put out. Because again, this is what bothers me, you guys that just have to wait around and wait for me to do it for you. You signed up. You have videos to watch how I decode. I gave you all the cheat sheets for every major sports league with all of the teams decoded, so you already have all the numbers that you can just scan over instantly. I've already given you all this stuff, and then a bunch of you guys are still emailing every day. Zach, can you come on, man, Zach, come and do some more picks. You guys, teach yourself how to fish. I already showed you a million times. And then the other thing is all those videos that are on Patreon. I mean, how many videos are on my Patreon channel? There's over 1,000 videos on that channel. You can go back and watch all the days of decoding sports. It's not like I do things different on a Monday than I do a Tuesday or a Wednesday or a Thursday. I do the same thing every single day. You can go back and watch old videos and learn that way. There's all sorts of ways to learn if you're already on the Patreon. I will put out more content. In the days ahead, I'm going to put out what I think for the futures of baseball. And I see a big thing that they're doing with tennis. I see a big old thing that they're doing with tennis in the Grand Slams. So I'm going to do that in the days ahead. I will still give you guys some content, but I'm not going to get back to the daily sports decoding. Like I said, I already gave you all the tools, all the knowledge is there how to do it. Picking up things like Michael Jordan's teams becoming 5-9 on his birthday, that stuff's easy. Easy. You guys got to learn to see these things. Easy. This is free money right here. Free money. These games are so rigged. This world's so rigged. It's so scripted. It's not a coincidence. It's a system used every single day. And when you explain it the right way to people, most people will come around. So it's just the people who don't want to listen to anything that don't come around. And by the way, you see how the Nuggets fell to 7-7 in D.C.? Just to make the point about September 11th. Remember, Washington, D.C.'s on the 77th Meridian West on 9/11, Flight 77 hit the 77-foot tall Pentagon on the 77th Meridian West 77 minutes after taking off. And notice in that most pure cipher, when you write out September 11th, as a word, it's 77, right? And when you write out World Trade Center, it's 77. Those were the two things that got hit that day, the Pentagon and the World Trade Center. Not to mention Pentagon construction began September 11th, 1941, the year of Pearl Harbor. And then 9/11 was referred to as the new Pearl Harbor, and buildings 1, 2, and 7 fell in New York, like Pearl Harbor was on 127, December 7th, 12/7, 127. But notice when you write out United States, it's 77. DC's known as DC's on the American Meridian, which is the 77th Meridian. And it's the town that's full of secret societies. It's known as the Masonic City, Secret Society 77. Rituals in plain sight. But again, you learn the numbers that correspond with cities. Like this was a no-brainer ritual right here if you follow my work and know what I routinely teach. And there's one gentleman in this community who's a great guy and a great tipper, and he had an 18 parlay, and he missed it. He texted me that night. He's like, man, the only game that killed me tonight was the Wizards and Nuggets. And I looked at it and I was like, how did you go against the Wizards on the Jordan birthday ritual, especially with the Nuggets falling to 7-7 in D.C., man? That game was a great payout because Nuggets were big favorites in this game. So, again, I mean, these are just strong rituals right here. You cannot miss things like this. D.C. 77. I'm a broken record about D.C. and 77. You guys got to make sure you know these very strong, consistent patterns. But, he would have been in the money that night I love that guy. I'm not trying to make him mad, but I'm just saying, man, how did you miss? You had an 8-team parlay. That's a big parlay to put together, and you missed on that game? Come on, man, you can't do that. You would have been rich had you just gone with the same thing that and that's the thing, if you just go through my videos and just watch the videos that are on Patreon, I'm talking about Washington and 77 rituals and sports all the time. I mean, it's just the same things come up all the time with these cities. Washington, 77, September 11th, sports. Again, it's just all connected, you guys. You got to learn the patterns. I mean, I honestly don't know how somebody can know my work and not know about DC in 77. I mean, I've taught that that's the best example a million times in Gematria. DC in 77. So how do you miss that in a sports game on Jordan's birthday when his team can become 5-9 in Black History Month? I mean, come on. Oh, man. Anyway, you guys, that's how you do it. You start with the numbers, then you bring the Gematria. You don't start with the Gematria. You're going to lose people right away. It's just too abstract. You hit them with the number patterns, then you bring on the Gematria, and maybe you work in a topic like the Jesuits. So, again, I hope you guys support this man. He just got going with his channel. He just started, and again, I just liked it right away. He's ready to pound payment. He's ready to go out and talk to people, and that's where I got to give him his props. He's getting people that are willing to go on camera and talk. When I was in Louisiana, I asked a bunch of people if they'd do an interview. The only gentleman that nobody wanted to go on camera. In fact, I was able to say the only 2 men that were captured from that trip on camera were 2 men that another person recorded without their permission. And I hope we didn't get those guys in trouble because they even worked at the LSU campus. But yeah, I don't know. Leo's got the touch. People are willing to go on camera with him. And I'm nice to people when I talk to him in the streets. Everyone's like, oh, I'm too shy for the camera. So, or something's right in Tucson. I haven't pounded pavement in Tucson, but maybe everybody out there just wants to be a YouTube star. So I don't know. But he's doing something right with getting people on camera because that's been a big trick for me. That has been a big trick. So anyhow, we'll leave it there, you guys. And I do have the radio show tonight. It's Wednesday. Again, 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern. TFR Wednesday nights. Remember, that's the one show that you're not supposed to cuss when you call into because it's on TFR and they try to keep it clean. And, yeah, so anyway, I'll be back for that. And enjoy the rest of your day and evening. Till next time.